Hey, I'm Michael Dorinda,
And I'm Jake Bennett.
and welcome to episode 187 of the North Meet South Web Podcast.
Chicka chicka chinna. Hey, everybody. Okay, I want to kick off the top of the show telling you two items that have made a significant impact in increasing. Let's see here. They've made my life better. Let's just say that they've made my life better. Are you ready for the first one?
Go for it.
Okay, the first one is a 3-in-1 charger. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
sounds so overrated. Let me grab one. Hold on.
Hang on, I'll save you the effort. Look, right here.
I've got two of them. Okay, the one you have is that's a good one. That's a good one. Here's the ones, and
this.
honestly, all that, yep, that's
Compact.
amazing. I love it. Very compact. This one is also compact. It is slightly different, right? So this one has a little piece that comes off and slides into the bottom. Handy, handy, very cool. There it is, and then
Very nice.
on the top, and then there you've got your AirPods, your phone, and your Apple Watch. Okay.
Nice.
If you do not have one of these, folks, you need to get one because it eliminates three sets of cables. You've got one cable for all of that stuff, and it's just like your home base for all your Apple stuff. And so that has been awesome. But
before we move on to number two,
okay, yes. Oh, and it needs to be able to like throw into a bag, right? You need to be able to collapse it so you can take it with you. You only have one cable to take anytime you're traveling. One cable, one charger, you're good to go. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. How I find, I've got the Apple Watch Ultra, but I find that the charger on this thing is excruciatingly slow.
Interesting. Okay.
Like it's not as fast as the Apple like cable. So that is the only downside. So I will still carry the, especially when I travel, which is not often, but when I travel and, for example, Laracon, when the days start at 6 a.m. and finish at midnight.
Yep.
And I need to charge it before I go to bed because otherwise it's not, tracking my sleep. And I don't know what to do if I don't have the sleep tracking information available to me. I need to give it a quick burst of charge, and I don't get that from this thing. So that is the only downside to these all-in-ones.
This one is a 15-watt charger. So for me, like I get my wireless on my phone is 15 watt. The AirPods is 5 watt, and the Apple Watch is 2.5. But I actually do have another one. This is the one I bought for Graham, my son. But I do have another one upstairs which puts out like 15 watts for. I think it's quite a bit more powerful than this one is. In any case, it has been extremely beneficial, and it is way nicer than having to have multiple things and multiple cables. To that end, then, the whole multiple cable thing, here's the situation we dealt with, right? So I had cables for all of my stuff, but they would disappear from my room mysteriously. And I would find that I had children who had stolen them, the little thieves. And I was like, I have got to figure out a way to make this is not a problem anymore. So what do? Well, I bought more of chargers, right? And I was like, okay, this is going to be the way. This is going to be great. And they lost them, and then mine continued to disappear. So I organized all the cables, put them all in one drawer. That's going to be the solution. Now they know where they are. No, still a problem. Okay, so what I came down to is I needed to have a place where like the chargers sort of like locked in. Like you cannot take them out, right? They sell things that actually lock your chargers to your wall, but this is still not the solution. Gitryin is the name of the company. It is amazing. They make this like it's a power strip surge protector that is like a little housing, and then they sell little bricks that plug into it, and the bricks can be either 45 watt or 65 watt chargers. Pretty sick. And here's the secret: the charging cables on them are retractable, meaning they never can leave the brick. And the brick is the bricks, once you put them in, there's a top that goes on it, and all the bricks are sort of locked in. And so what you end up getting is this locked in, always available, retractable cables. So it cleans up really nicely. And the way that I've done it is that I also have bought these little USB-C to lightning cable adapters that sort of attach as like a little dongle onto the cables. So each one of these little cables has a little lightning adapter as well. So any of the kids can pull it out. So what I've found is that I've not even had to go tell the kids to do it. They just know that like that's where the charger is. and it charges up to 12 things. Like I've got 4 bricks, but in addition to the brick that has the retractable piece, there's also another USB-C port in the bottom of that charger that you can plug into. So in addition to the retractable ones that I have, I've bought also additional retractable cables that sit right next to it, so that if the kids need a 6th or a 7th or whatever, they can just plug those in, and those also have the little lightning things. It cost me less than $100 for the entire setup, and I cannot tell you, I have never had a kid complaining about not being able to find a charger. I've never had my chargers disappear again. It's incredible. It was like, I think I bought it for like $75. It was like on crazy sale when I bought it. But the little adapter tips are great. I even have micro USB tips for like old Kindles and stuff that we have laying around that just sit right on top of that as well. But I gotta tell you, it is pretty incredible. And the 65 watt bricks can charge your MacBook if you want. And so I actually bought 2 of them. I bought one for all the kids downstairs, and then I bought one for all my devices upstairs. So if I want to charge my AirPods, and I want to charge my laptop, and I want to charge my Kindle, and I want to charge the remote control for my TV, right? I've got, it feels like limitless USB-C chargers available whenever I need them, and I don't have to bundle up the cables. I just pull it and just zip, pulls right back in. I'm telling you, this is a game changer. If you do not have one, you need to get one.
I like that it's modular.
Yes.
Because, you know, those cables, eventually they'll break. Like, guarantee that they will break eventually. So it's good that you can just slide the whole brick out and put a new one in. So that's good.
And they're reasonable. It's like, reasonable. It's not insanely expensive.
Yeah. They're like $40 to replace the brick, I guess. So, yeah, it's good because either the like spring-loaded mechanism will break or the cable itself will break eventually. So it's nice to know that you don't have to go out and buy a whole new, docking desk power thing or whatever it's called. Nice, I love that. Can't get it
it's
here.
really nice. And
it's got US plugs on it. So
yeah, exactly. It's a good one. So everybody needs to go check that out. I wish I had like a referral code to give or something, but I don't. It's just free advice here. It's been a game changer. So check those out, people. They are really good. Maybe I should see if we can get sponsored by Gitryin.
Git as in Git version control, Ryin, RYIN.
They're from a company called I think Giraffe Tools, I think is what it is. And they make all sorts of retractable things. I think they started out with like retractable hoses, and now they have like retractable hoses for power washers and retractable electrical cables and all that stuff. And I think they've relatively new. Like this is a new product line for them, I think. But it works pretty good. Of course it works good. I just told you about that. But like when I ordered them, they were out of stock, a couple of the things, and their customer service was really good. They actually sent me this 3-in-1 charger. This is what they sent me for being late on their shipment of stuff. And so they were really cool, made it right, and did a really good job.
And you know the best part of every American technology company is that it's all manufactured in China.
So they're close to you guys. So like you don't have to,
right.
it probably gets faster to you than it does to me.
Yeah, so. if not for the US plugs on the end. Can we talk about this, by the way?
Yes, please.
When I said, so we had this display cabinet built in our dining room because we had freestanding IKEA cupboards in there, and we were looking at what we wanted to do as part of like we're doing an extension on the home, and our mortgage broker basically said, look at everything that you want to do and just do it now, so that you don't get to the end of this process and have any regrets. I wish I did this or that, whatever. So we looked at everything, and we had these IKEA cabinets that we'd bought, and they were always like kind of just there, but they were never great, and they kind of stood out, whatever else. So we had built-ins made, and when the installer got here to put the cupboards in, he goes, that PowerPoint there is in the way. Is that meant to go in the cupboard or next to the cupboard or what?
And for those of you Americans who are thinking PowerPoint is in Microsoft, no, he means an outlet, a power outlet.
An outlet.
Yes.
Yeah. So we said, no, well, that's got to stay on the wall. We talked about this from the get-go that we wanted that to be there, and the cupboards had to stay. Anyway, it turned out that the salesperson knew that, like the director of the company knew that we wanted to keep that in there. And it wasn't like, whoops, we mismeasured it or built the wrong size cupboards or whatever. He had always planned to come and just move the PowerPoint, this outlet on the wall, like 100 mil, not very, just over. Because that way we could buy standard carcasses for the cabinets without having to get custom built ones that were a particular depth or whatever. So he just came and because he's an electrician, so he came and just moved it. And I sent you the photo of this thing, and
you said finally moved. It's like it's because you sent like the morons didn't really do it. You know, you're like, okay, we're gonna move it. So yes, go ahead.
Yeah. But your comment was, what are the switches on the outlet? And I knew exactly why you were asking that.
Buttons. There are buttons. It looks like it's in the outlet with a button above it. And when we do outlets here, they're typically vertical. So we have top and bottom. Now, sometimes you have left and right, but most typically you have top and bottom. So these were left and right, first of all. So they were horizontal wise, you know, think landscape mode. And then above each outlet was like a button. And I'm like, what are the buttons for? So before US audience, to me, I want you to think about it, U.S. audience, what these do. Now, it's probably, maybe it's obvious to you. But as I was looking at them, I'm like, are these like, you know, like locks in place or something? Or is it like a GFCI outlet where like you press the button to reset the circuit or something? I didn't know. So anyway, you informed me.
Yeah. So they're switches for power. And yeah, that's basically what it is. Because we don't run at this like half rate 110 volts, like barely useful electricity. We run at full 240 here. So you've got to turn that power on
all
and off when you're not using
all
it.
The time, baby.
Have you never heard of corona discharge? Like you might walk past a power point that's left on.
What is corona discharge? What is that?
Well, when you have build up of now I'm going to have to look it up to be correct here. Corona discharge. It's basically like it's the hissing, right? But it can cause.
Okay. Sure.
It's very uncommon. Like it's extremely unlikely for this to happen, but it can cause it to like.
If you leave it on all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's very, very unlikely that it would happen, but you know, a Tesla coil, you know, the thing that. You know,
sure. Yes.
Yeah. That kind of that ejection or that eruption where it arcs, that's a corona discharge. So.
Okay. So you guys shut them off when you're not in use.
Yeah.
You just click the button. Okay. And click so like, do you
it's
ever
like a light switch?
Do they ever just? Yeah. Do they ever just get left on?
No. We just switch them off. I mean,
I just thought that was so funny.
Like if I see a PowerPoint left on, I'll go and switch it off. But it's light switch. Does
it show like is it an up and a down or is it just a button?
Yeah. So when it's down, it's typically like a fluorescent orange like eye.
Okay.
On there, basically. Yeah. Yep.
You know, nightlight as well. And you don't even have to plug anything.
Well, I mean, it doesn't glow. It doesn't glow.
It's
but the
just
other,
like a little.
Yeah, the other thing, the horizontal, like, don't talk to me about portrait mode PowerPoints because the problem with these things, right, is you can only put one like big brick on there. If you've got one, you can only put it in the bottom. The horizontal, bang, next to each other. No problem.
It's that's a good point. That's a good point. They do take up more room, but who cares? I don't.
Yeah, this was the problem I had in the hotel when I was in Denver last year was that I had like the travel adapter took up that much space that I couldn't use both PowerPoints because they were stacked one on top of the other. And so when you've got the travel adapter plugged in and then you've got your Mac charger plugged into the back of that,
you're screwed.
And they fall out because of the weight. It just falls out of it.
I hate that. So like, does that not happen there? Because you have the three and they're angled, right?
We got the 3-prong and they're on an angle like that.
They're angled, and so that's actually that's really nice. So like,
Brazil things, they're oversized, they're loosey goosey, they fall out. No, look.
No, the thing with our MacBook chargers though is like they fold in, they click, they kind of you can fold them down into themselves because with the angled ones, you can't really
great
do that.
when you're not using it, but like I'm using it. I need
like,
who cares when it's not used? It's not useful. Yeah.
I think I would trade that for the angled like prongs so that it would stay in the freaking wall because that happens all the time. It's
Here's the other
annoying.
thing, right? In America, you do not have this requirement that you actually have to be a qualified electrician to do electrical work. Like over there, for example,
I mean,
you would have just gone and shifted that PowerPoint yourself. Right, but there's nothing. There's no yes, you should know what you're doing when you do it, but there's nothing stopping you, Jake, from going and moving a PowerPoint or futzing with a light switch. Swap out a light switch or an outlet for a smart switch. You would just do that yourself. Here,
absolutely,
240 volts. You got to get an electrician. You got to pay a guy to come and do it. You don't like I was investigating.
There's plenty of bogans that don't pay.
No,
right? I mean, let's be real.
The number of electrical related household electrical related deaths in America is quite a bit higher than it is here, even with 110
Maybe
volts.
It
so
is.
Yeah, we looked it up recently. So it was I don't remember the exact statistic, but it's quite a bit higher over there than it is here because we just don't do it. Because I was looking at the light switch in my pantry because it'd been like over time you bash it a lot and it like had become loose, so it would like push into the wall a little bit. My solution to the problem, of course, was to put a motion sensor on the door and put a LifeX globe in there and hook it up to Home Assistant, so the light just turns on when you go in there. But I was investigating, like, where is it? And I start to feel like this biting in my. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, I've been electrocuted here slightly. So yeah, it was not a pleasant.
Gosh.
Luckily, I was doing it with the back of my hand. Yeah, this was the thing we were taught in school. When you're working with electricity, always use the back of your hand, because when you get electrocuted, it causes your hand to contract, and you can't let go because you have no control of this. Yeah,
exactly.
So you want it to contract away so you can pull your hand away.
Yeah, and that's why we deal with 110 and not this 240 crap, right? Like your nonsense. No wonder you got to use the back of your hand, for goodness sakes. Use the back of my hand. No, but like I like doing a little bit of electrical work. Honestly, it's kind of fun. Did I tell you about my 3-way switch?
Did you sort it out? Did you get the third one working?
I got it. I actually did end up getting it working, and it took forever. I had to have a multimeter and all sorts of nonsense to figure out which one it was. It was a mess. But with ChatGPT and a multimeter and a lot of patience, I was able to get it figured out, and it looks awesome and it works perfectly. And so, my dad one time when he was working on 3-way switch, he's like, I just keep switching stuff until it works. I'm like, that is a terrible idea. That is why we have house fires, and that is why we have people dying with electrical incidents, whatever. Anyway, if anybody ever needs electrical advice, give me a call and I'll give you the number of a qualified.
Definitely won't do that. Yeah, that's right. I won't be calling you for anything.
Oh man, good times. All right,
but yes, we got all this stuff done now. I had to
yes.
So when they went to do all the plumbing in the laundry, because we had cabinets put in there as well, the plumber goes, there's a crack in the outlet hose from your washing machine.
Jeez,
and I said, that's no good.
Was it leaking all over the place?
No, like it must have happened recently. Like there was no leaking or anything, so it was fine. It was about this far, and for those of you listening along, it's probably about a foot in from the end of the hose. And the way that we had, because we had the basin before, the outlet hose went into like a thing that went straight into the pipe, so it wasn't a problem. But the new sink, because it was an undermount sink attached to the bench, we had to connect the outlet hose to the barb, which is under the sink. It didn't go into a drain pipe; it goes into this little barb, and there's like a rubber cap on the end.
Yeah.
So, but it was high enough up. You can't repair the hose, like. Because water, eventually it'll start leaking. So the plumber came back and he cut it and he put a bit of copper in there and he like siliconed it in and put the O-ring on the end of it, whatever it's called, that you tighten it, the clamp.
It's O-ring. Yep.
And he said, look, wait 24 hours before you use it, just to make sure the silicon seals before you run water through there. And so we were out 24 hours later, so we didn't do, like, we did a week's worth of washing on Sunday. It was ridiculous because our laundry was in disarray for a whole week. So with the four of us, everyone at work, school, gym, whatever, there was a lot. We did 5 loads of washing on the weekend. Laundry. But I did the first load of washing, and I thought I better just go and check to make sure it's not leaking. And sure enough, there was a puddle of water.
Dang it all.
And it was leaking out of the washer's side of this, fix. And I thought, it's not too bad. Like, I'll just clean it up and just see how much it's leaking. And as I did this, the washer started doing its like end of cycle purge, and water was just like flying out of it. Like, no. I'm like, okay, I'll just like figure out, how much is a hose. I'll go to the Bunnings, we call it, but like,
so here we go.
Store or whatever.
Handyman Michael.
Handyman Michael. So I'm like, okay, the hose, $25. I go and look on YouTube. How do I? Because it just goes into the back of the machine. So the plumber said, "Oh no, you're gonna have to take the back off the machine to get." I said, "Okay, so how much of the back of the machine do I have to take off?" My friends, let me tell you.
Oh no!
It is not just the back of the machine. First, you take the 4 screws off the back of the machine. Then you take a screw off the front of the machine, so you can slide off the top of the machine. Then you have to disconnect the control panel on the front. Then you have to take the wash powder compartment out, and you have to undo a screw there and take that off so that you can unclip the front of the machine to get to the bottom of the machine, to then undo the lint trap, to then take the lint trap out, to then get inside the machine again, to undo the contraption that holds. So this hose goes into the back of the machine, up and over the top of the machine, down to the bottom and back up again, and then into the machine. We're talking about pulling apart the entire machine at this point.
Is yours a washer and dryer combined?
No, just a washer, just a front load washer.
But you
have
have
it dry.
you have a like a lint trap in your washer?
Yeah. Well, it catches all the crap
that
comes off. Well, it's just like
interesting.
Anyway.
Okay.
So it was this whole process, and so I messaged Ree and I said, "Oh, this thing is." She was at the gym. I said, "Oh, it's leaking," and she goes, "Can we use it?" I'm like, "Well, it's okay for now." And then like 30 seconds later, I said, "Oh no, it's just leaked everywhere." And then I sent her the link to this video. I said, "Why is it so many steps though?" And then I said, "You know what? I can get a new one within an hour." Now, in hindsight, this read unclearly. I can understand how this was misinterpreted.
She
when
thought
I said
you meant
I
a new
can
washer.
No, she thought I meant a new hose and then I could get it in an hour. No, I meant a new washing machine.
Yeah.
I'm like, the distribution center for the electrical supply place was like 10 minutes away from us. I'm like, I'll go and get it. I'll put it in the back of the Tucson. I'll bring it in. We'll just replace it. No problem. We'll have the new machine. Because the old machine's 15 years old already.
Oh, yeah. It's about time
it's a
anyway.
7.5 kilo. Like, it had a 10-year warranty. It's been working fine. And it definitely washes a lot more now with a family of 4 than it did when I bought it when I was living by myself, right? So it's had a good run. It's 15 years old. I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to pull the machine apart because it'll never go back together again.
Yeah.
I could pay someone to repair it and spend, $25 on parts and $300 on labor for a 15-year-old machine that would probably die in, a year, 6 months, or whatever it is. I had a look. The 9-kilo washer was the same price as the 10-kilo washer. I thought, great, let's buy the 10-kilo washer. It was $800. I went and picked it up, brought it home.
And
done. I jammed my hand in the door on the way in. Oh, I know.
You know what I mean?
I jammed my hand on the way in on the door. I then jammed my thumb between the cupboard and the thing. Because the thing is, I've got to get all the cables,
I know
the power
washers
cable,
are
the
so
outlet,
difficult to freaking get into those things.
The hot and cold thing. And because now we've got this beautiful, like it looks fantastic now that it's in there, but we've got this cupboard where it's like tucked in with, this tiny bit of space either side of it.
A half inch
You've got to get it
in.
in. Yeah. Yeah, the minimum clearance. You've got to get it in. Oh, no, it doesn't fit. Oh, the cables are wedged in there now, so you've got to pull it out again. You've got to wiggle them around, and you've got to
This is one of those jobs where you kind of have to have 2 people. It's just so much easier if you have one extra set of hands.
Yeah. However, for some reason, this new washing machine connects to the internet.
Oh, that's cool, actually.
It only connects to 2.4 gigahertz.
When it's done. Yeah. Always 2.4.
It only connects to 2.4. It did not like connecting to my Eero, which is dual band 5 gigahertz to 2.4. I had to go into troubleshooting mode to like force it to turn 5 gigahertz off. I tried 3 times to get it to connect. It didn't connect. I had to put it on the guest network, which is 2.4 only. But now, I don't know, it tells me how much time is left. It sends me a notification when it's finished.
And you can probably do smart home automation stuff on it. It's like
flash
a light when it's done.
Yeah, I've got it in Home Assistant. So the problem I have is, oh no, I've knocked myself over. The problem I have is the laundry is just outside of my office. So I hear the thing play its happy song when it finishes.
Yeah, maybe
and then I'm like, I've got to go out there. Well, I go, okay, it's finished. I go out there and take the laundry out. Oh, whoops. No, actually, 2 hours have passed and I've forgotten to take the stuff out and put another load of washing in. And but I heard the song. I'm like, I'll get to that in a minute. And then 2 hours is gone. So
Yep.
But yeah, I was talking to the installer. I've told everyone who will listen, and now you, dear listener, will hear this information as well. As I approach 40, and look, I'm only going to be 39 this year, so I'm not quite there. But as I approach 40, I am much more excited about having laundry cupboards and bench space and places to put my things in the laundry than I have been with any technology in the last 5 years.
Yep. Yeah. Dude, at this age, it's all about optimization, right? Like getting done quickly the things that you really don't want to have to do. Just like, what are the areas of my life that make me really frustrated? And then like, okay, we're going to fix that problem. And charging cables and laundry happen to be on the list for the two of us.
That's it. We've spoken 25 minutes about charging cables and laundry. Should we try and get some technological content in here for the listeners that are left at this point?
It's good. It'll just be done.
Done.
I think that's it. Yep. All right, folks. Thanks for listening to episode 1. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let me think here for a second.
Are you going to Laracon? Have you bought your tickets? Because you do this every year. You're like, I'm going to Laracon US, and then like 2 days before Laracon US, you book your accommodation and your flights and your tickets. So like, what's going on?
No,
here?
it's typically like I buy my tickets the day they're out, and then I book my accommodations like the day before. So I've not bought my Laracon tickets yet. I'm trying to figure out how many of the folks are able to go. We've got one team member that's got a baby on the way. We've got another team member who's might have a conflict. Yeah, so it's like Yeah, we're just trying to figure out like how many actually we're going to need. You told me, you said, listen, they didn't sell out last year. They're not going to sell it this year. You've got a little bit of time. So I'm banking on that. If for some reason they sell out, I'm going to be absolutely furious.
Well,
but no,
Laracon
definitely
EU got very close to selling out this year, and they're in a bigger venue, as
Yeah.
I understand it. So
definitely
maybe the return of the conference.
Yeah, maybe.
You got to go because I'm going. If I can go to Boston,
absolutely.
And Boston is like the other side of the country. That's a whole other trip now.
Yes.
That's another 6-hour flight from LA.
Yeah, I'll be there. I just gotta figure out the details.
Now I told you this last year, just so you remember, and you can plan ahead because you've got 6 months. I'm getting there at 7 a.m. on Monday. Yes. I am leaving at 10 a.m. on Friday, so I've got all of Thursday. None of this. My flight's at 6 p.m. and it's got brought home to 10 a.m. No.
Yeah.
I'm leaving at 10 a.m. on Friday. And I'm getting there. I'll be there for all of day 0. I'll have all of that stuff. Tuesday, Wednesday.
That's gonna be great.
Thursday.
We gotta figure out if there's golfing this year or what's going on exactly. I don't know.
They're doing something. I know, as far as I'm aware. Like they're doing some day 0 thing. But I'll be there. I'll be there for everything. I've made sure. I had to leave on Sunday. I'm really stretching the friendship with Ree, because I'm leaving on Sunday and I'm returning on Sunday this year.
Yeah, you got a good one there.
But
that's fun. I'm looking forward to it. Definitely will be there for as much of the time as I can be, and I'm looking. It'll be a good one. Recent developments.
Let us know. Let us know. Like reply. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Wherever you happen to communicate, whether it's Telegram, Twitter, X. Tell us if you're coming.
There. Absolutely.
I met a bunch of new people last year as well, so
there was that was a really good one last year. It was a lot of fun. It felt like a homecoming. The year before that, it was good. Just didn't have the same vibe. And so last year was back. It was totally back, and felt really good. So looking forward to another good year. Andy Hinkle, one of my good buddies that I work with, submitted I think 3 talks for Laracon. So fingers crossed he gets a speaker spot. That'd be awesome. Well deserving of it. Really good guy, smart as a whip, and working on some really cool stuff for us right now. Doing a bunch of AI stuff, man. It's been really cool. So make sure I'm getting this right. Okay. So it used to be that back in the day, I'd have stuff stored in a MySQL database, right? And if I wanted to look something up, I would do a query where it says, I would take the text and I would find something where the description is like, and then I would say %, my little query %, and it would sort of find the exact text or whatever, and fair enough, right? And then it was like, oh, that's not really good enough. So like you now have full text search options inside of some of these engines and stuff like that. And that's all great too. Or you have Algolia or Melee Search and things like that. And it'll kind of, fuzzy match some of that stuff. And that's wonderful. But the idea behind vector embeddings is, I'm going to explain my understanding of it, and you can kind of correct me if you think that's right or not. The way that it works is I'm going to take a piece of text, and I'm going to take that text, and I'm going to send it to a model that will build a vector embedding out of that piece of text. So what it's going to do, it's going to take it, it's going to as an input, and then it's going to give me back numbers, vectors, that represent that text in a vector space. Okay? I'm going to go do that for all of the different pieces of text that I might want to search against. Now, it's not just encoding the specific words, right? It's sort of encoding like the intent, like the words that would be that or adjacent to that. So that vector embedding happens really quickly, right? We're talking about milliseconds where I send it and it gives me back the vector embedding of that thing, and I store it alongside my text so that if my text changes, I need to get a new vector embedding and store that alongside my text. And Postgres is where you would store a lot of these things because there's a vector plugin sort of map.
PG vector.
Anyway, PG vector. Okay. So now if I have some text that I want to find inside of the existing records that I have, what I can do is I can say, okay, give me your search text that you're looking for. I pass that over to that same model, which gives me a vector embedding of where it lands in the space.
The numbers, the matrices,
gives me the numbers, and then I search that against my existing vector embeddings, and it gives me the ones that are most closely related, but not by text, right? The key here is by intent. By intent. Yes. right?
Yeah.
And so that's what's really interesting to me. So here's an example of how I'm thinking of using this. We have a bunch of security questionnaires that we get to answer for our clients every year. Ooh, wonderful. Oh, so fun. So fun. We've been doing this for years and years and years, and we have Excel sheets full of, here is the question that was asked, here's our answer, here's what the evidence that we gathered was located at inside of which document, and whether we had it or not, and what document provided, etc. Right? So what I want to do is I want to take those questions, I want to feed them in to a database. Left-hand side is the question, right-hand side, and like the rest of the columns are going to be my answer, my evidence, whatever. What I want to do is I want to get a vector embedding of that question. I want to store that alongside of it. Then when a new question comes in from a vendor, I don't have to find the exact text. I can say, is there any questions that have been asked previously that had the same intent, right? Now what I can do is I can show to my guy who's my security specialist, I can say, here's 3 questions that look like they're very similar in intent to the new question that's coming in. Do any of these look like they're same? Are they the same? Human in the loop, right? Yes, this is definitely the same idea. Okay, great. Here's the answers. We'll go ahead and fill those in for you. That is what I'm hoping to do. And I love this idea of being able to search by intent. But this was sort of a light bulb moment for me. I did not understand what vector embeddings were. I did not understand how that worked until Andy explained it all to me. And so, yeah, it's all just math. But is that correct? Does that sound right to you? All of that?
Yeah, that's my understanding of it. Is you take your corpus of data, right?
Yes,
your corpus of data being
that. Good one.
That's the LLM, the
Is
AI
the term?
terminology. Yeah, it's the terminology. Your corpus of data. So you take whatever it is, your PDFs or your text or your knowledge base or whatever else. You take that corpus of data, you run it through your model to generate the vector embeddings, and you store that in a database. And then, as you say, if you're searching for something, you take that, you run it through the same model to get your vector, and then you do a semantic similarity search. So it takes the vectors that you have generated from what you've searched for and looks for the semantic similarity of, the vector embeddings from your corpus of data and returns the results. So, the idea is to like narrow down the results and then give you back what it is. I was shown today by one of my teammates. The website is Daily Dose of Data Science. It's dailydoseofds.com. We'll put a link for you in the show notes. It is they give you some like free access to things, but there's it's either $12 a month, $120 a year to get access to this. And they talk about full stack AI engineering. And the one thing that stood out to me first and why it's come into my mind now is because they've got a RAG systems course, which is now that I need to tell you what RAG is,
retrieval
augmented. Oh God, why is it hurting my brain to figure it out now? RAG AI retrieval augmented generation.
There it is.
Everyone, you're yelling at me. Retrieval augmented generation.
These guys don't have any freaking clue what they're talking about. They don't know what RAG is.
Look, I'm not going to pretend to know what it is. But yeah. So this, they've got a RAG systems course, and the free thing that you have access to, it's a 22-minute read, is the foundations of RAG systems that goes through all of this stuff. It talks about what are vector bases, the purpose of them, the purpose of vector databases in retrieval augmented generation systems, and the workflow. It talks about creating chunks and embeddings and then storing those embeddings.
Yeah, I want to talk about that real quick too, the chunks and stuff.
Go.
Okay, so like in my specific example, I have on my left-hand side the exact question that I'm wanting to have a vector embedding of, right? So I know the precise amount of text and like the very specific piece of information that I'm looking to have intent matching on in the future. That might not always be the case, right? So let's take, for example, let's say that I do not actually get a result. There is no question in my corpus of data that has any intent that matches this. So this is a brand new question. Okay. Well, what I want to do is I want to take that brand new question and I want to see if anything in my ITSS or in my software development workflow documentation or in my my data recovery or in my like emergency preparedness documentation, any of those things that I typically would provide, like disaster recovery plan, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Is there anything in those documents that might have a similar intent to the question that's being asked here. Okay, well, that's a different thing. So what I have to do in that case is I have to feed all those documents in, and I have to then chunk them up into these pieces of information that I can do the same thing on. I'm going to vector embed them, and then I'm going to put them into a database. And when I encode the intent of the question, I'm going to rank order. Here's the results that we think most are closely related. Now, you can't just say like do the whole document at a time, right? Because that's not necessarily helpful. There might be some benefit to that, but you sort of have to decide how big of a chunk are you interested in here, right? So there's different strategies around that. Larger chunks of text give you like, okay, it's maybe similarly related here, but like we don't know necessarily how close you are to that specific spot. Whereas if I do smaller ones, it might not be able to find pieces as easily, but you'd maybe have more specific locations as to where they are found, right? So sort of you have to play with it a little bit. And the good news is, I'm talking about, let's say it's even like 300 pages. And let's say I break it up into paragraphs. We're talking about some small number of thousands of things. And these vector embeddings go, like I said, milliseconds fast. So you can pretty quickly break those up, try it a couple different ways, and see how well it works. The other thing is there's a thing called Misty Studio, MSTY Studio. Misty Studio. That itself is a like an LLM interface, and one of the things that they have is called knowledge stacks, and you can run this locally. You can run it against any LLM. You can hook it up to any model that's in the cloud, but you can also run it against your Olama. So these knowledge stacks will essentially take a set of documents, chunk them, and code them for you, and then you can run your queries against that, through using natural language processing stuff. So if you don't want to have to set up that system yourself, you can use these knowledge stacks. It's free. Misty Studio is open source. And, again, you can bring your own key, or you can hook it up to your own Olama instance locally. Use DeepSeek, whatever you want to use, and get those fans spinning on your machine. But this is kind of like going to be my first pass at this. Once I find the time to do it, I'm gonna use those knowledge stacks, because it's just much easier to kind of take a couple passes at it, find what works, and then I can fine tune that system if I really need to.
Yeah. So. I mean, we've some of the other guys on the team at work, they've done some RAG based stuff, and we've got like a chat interface in our application to go into our database, into our knowledge base, so that our customers can go in there and say, I'm looking for a loan for a customer employed full time, good credit history. They're looking for this much money for this type of purchase, and it'll go and look through it all and return. So I have some like tangential experience to that, but last week for the Laravel News podcast, the last piece of automation that I'm trying to build in terms of producing those episodes is to take the transcript from the edited video. So we do this video thing, we record it, I throw it into DaVinci Resolve. It does transcription, and I don't like DaVinci Resolve's transcription is pretty good. It's not what we use for the final transcript. I use 11 Labs for that. But just to get something out of DaVinci to give us directionally correct information, I take that transcript, run it through a bit of a processing pipeline to then generate transcript chunks, to generate embeddings and store that in a vector database in the same way, so that I can then go, given I know that we talked about these 20 articles over the course of an episode, look at the transcript based on the embeddings and tell me, where did I talk about this topic, so that I can then generate chapter markers to then import back into DaVinci Resolve, where I can add the timeline titles. And last week, I think we had about 22, 25 different topics that we talked about. I need to work on the resolution of those chunks, because I had some things that kind of overlapped a little bit, where the topic one, then there was topic two, then topic three. Well, topic one kind of ended up after topic two. So the granularity was a bit off, where like there was some similarity between this chunk and this chunk where they overlapped. Yeah. And so it gave me the wrong timings. So if I can, I tried to be conservative initially, like work with bigger chunks, but I might just, it's quick enough and it's simple enough to just give it, much smaller chunks to work with. And then we can find those, that similar stuff to then more accurately place the timeline markers. because at the moment I still had to go through and then, shift them around and make sure, this one got added. It didn't get found at all because it was like between chunks and things like that. So it is very interesting. And fortunately for me in this era of AI, I didn't really have to do too much research or understanding for the first pass. I just went to Claude. I said, hey, I want to take the transcript from here. I want to generate embeddings, store it. I've gone from SQLite now into Postgres because Herd makes it easy to just do that and move everything across, and enable PG Vector. Like, it went and edited whatever config file I had to enable PG Vector or update the running configuration of Postgres to do all this kind of stuff. And it figured, okay, I need to go and send this off to OpenAI to use GPT-4o Mini or whatever it was to then generate the embeddings and then shove that into PG. So it's interesting. But yeah, it needs a bit of refinement in terms of figuring out all of that stuff. But it certainly makes things a lot simpler.
It does.
And, semantic similarity, because then it's smart about,
yes,
these numbers are, they are similar. So that you are getting what you're looking for when you search for those things. So, but
agreed.
I'll link up in the show notes the daily dose of DS. So there's like the paid, they've got courses and things like that, which I haven't delved into. Like, literally 4 hours ago, I found out about it for the first time. But you can sign up to the newsletter and they will send you a daily dose of DS, being data science. So they talk about all of this kind of stuff. But it looks very interesting.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Hey, folks, I think we're going to cut it there. Listen, you know what? One of my sayings is, leave while you're still having fun, right? Don't try and squeeze every single bit of fun out of it, because if you do, you're kind of going to overrun it, and then you're going to get, like, somebody's going to get mad. I mean, not like, I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about like kids specifically. Like, if you're at a place and you're having a good time, like, leave while they're still having fun. Otherwise, somebody's going to get tired. Somebody's going to get mad. Whatever.
They're going to get mad leaving anyway, because you're interrupting the fun.
Yeah. We're gonna cut this one off while we're still having fun. We've got more fun stuff to talk about next time we're together, I'm sure. But we're gonna cap this one off here. Michael, what episode are we on? 147?
187.
187. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. North meets South audio /187. 87. Rate us up at your podcatcher of choice. 5 stars would be incredible. And hit us up on Twitter at Michael Doranda, at Jacob, and at North South Audio. Whew, that was a good one, folks. And we'll continue to share kind of the things we're learning. Of course, we're still using Laravel and using PHP behind the scenes for all this stuff. Maybe next time we can talk about Laravel AI and how that helps to solve some of these problems as well. Until then, folks, we'll see you later. Peace.
Bye.